So hi Yan. So we are here at the European Coworking Conference, and I would like to know more about the coworking space you created in China.
Well, we're the first coworking space in China, based in Shanghai. We started with a space of 300 square meter in a sort of lofty area, and then after a year we moved to a house of 6 stories with a roof terrace in French Concession, which is very central, very easily being accessed by members. So up to now we have got 6,000 members, but don't be terrified by this number, because our membership is completely free of charge, and so that's in a way that we don't want to limit the whole co-working community into just people who are using space, but actually whoever wants to join this community and connect and collaborate. So it's more like sort of physical, working together with virtually working together.
And how many people are really working physically?
Because we kind of, people can pay an hour to work there. So there's quite a large number, there's a long tail of, people who are just come and go. So every day I just can't know. I have no idea how many people are working there. But mostly the permanent desk are to the people who are dedicated and are committed to a monthly basis or yearly basis. They're altogether, the desk is about 30.
So you have like full-time co-workers?
Yeah, with different floors, and has different people working there. People who are staying like more permanently, they will have a very quiet place. But if you don't want to stay in a quiet place, of course you can stay in the ground floor, which is a little bit social space, like here at Better House coffee shop. But for people who are kind of mobile and who are not committed to the long-term usage of the space, and they just stay downstairs and get their work done, or drink a coffee or a meeting. It's like here.
And what do you think is specific about your co-working space compared to maybe co-working spaces in the US or in Europe?
When we opened the space, of course, we didn't want to just turn it into a money-making machine. But in China, we kind of face a different situation from here. China is like now the most commercial place you can ever imagine. For us to, as a private initiative, to get public funding from the beginning is almost completely unthinkable. So for us to start something like this, with encourage free thinking and creativity, is not necessarily something our governments appreciate sometimes. And they if they trust you, you do good things, and you can have a very good relationship with the government. But if they don't trust you, then you might be even got trouble because of that. So we're kind of in a very different situation. So for us, it's very important that if we do these things, we have to figure out how to sustain the business from very beginning. And also in China, people have a kind of different mentality towards community. And people don't even know what community really is anymore. So we're actually trying to re-establish. That's why the name of Xin Dan Wei really means new work unit. We're trying to re-establish this community feeling, a sense of belonging where people used to have when it was still communist China, and which is not easy. We kind of trying to open our heart and share our knowledge with other people. So and you expect people to share back, and so there was a whole sharing culture created in this little community. We're kind of succeeding in many ways, and when people came here, they feel this is very warm and very homey, and almost like utopian, in this very commercialized world in Shanghai. It's a very commercial city. They feel this is like very pure place to be, and most of the people came here, they really kind of change their personality a bit, and then when they go out, they went back to their normal personalities, which is a good thing, really. And they noticed that there is a different kind of way of working together, and we're not trying to create some like huge impact. And even you're talking about 6,000 members, majority of the members are not Chinese, and around 20% have never been in Xin Dan Wei. They have been just following us with distance. Everybody can just sign up for 3 seconds. You can become a member, but not necessarily involved in the whole thing. So the impact we're creating is like you can't expect it to have a direct impact, but at least in the little environment we're creating, we try to get everybody change their mindset and a little bit. So.
Are there any new co-working spaces in China now?
Yes, there are a few. There is one in Shenzhen, started by an American guy, and he also called me up and asked me how to do this and how to do that. So we did have a lot of exchange of ideas and advices, and there were several people come. I think someone came, also Chinese, came back from Canada, and he also started a very small one, a really nice one in Shanghai. Actually, I've been so busy traveling, I haven't really got a chance to meet him. But he knew us, and he was also inspired by us. And so I think in the future we'll have some collaboration. And also some people in Beijing are also just opened up the space. There's a French person or English person, I don't remember. And he also dropped me a line saying, suggesting to have some collaborative relationship. We were all open to this collaboration. We want to have more co-working spaces in China for sure.
And how did you get with the idea of
co-working?
Yeah.
Well, it was really a matter of how to mix people in a sustainable way. I've been exploring this when I live in Europe. But the thing is, when I work on this issue, it was more like organizing meetups and organizing big conferences, cover different disciplines. So it was easy to mix people with budgets, but if you kind of create an entity to just focusing on mixing people and stimulate innovation and connection, and you have to find a business model to do that. So when I went back to China, I kept on continue to do what I used to do in Europe, but more on much smaller scale. And because there was nobody financing it, and we're just doing this because we love it. And after a year, we feel like we have to create this model to sustain this kind of sharing and collaboration. So that was like the moment co-working is sort of phenomenon emerged in the US, and we invested a little bit in co-working spaces in the US. We thought maybe that was one of the solutions to start to play with.
And so did you find this profitable business model?
Well, of course not. And it's something we are still experimenting. We're still since we were the first one. We're not expecting everybody to understand co-working. And so we have learned a lot in the first couple of months. A lot of people who want to commit to the network or community didn't show up. And a lot of people who came here, they kind of didn't understand the whole concept, so they left. So for us, it's a really long, learning process, and also a lot of behaviors, attitude of local people. We have to understand it a bit more, because the early adopters of our space, and I mean, the first few community members, they're all from West. And so we thought, it's a good thing to have members, but if you just completely depend on the expat community, it's not going to work. And we have so many people in China, and you're in China, if you just, we're all Chinese, and you can't just, do this with the expats. So we have to get, deep rooted in the local community. That's why we also made the move to more street level. And we started to get more and more young people being involved, because they were the potential people who are interested in and very being open and interested in collaboration. So then now we're reached like 50-50 of the regular members.
Okay. And do you have like a nice story of collaboration that was made possible thanks to the co-working
Well, there
space?
are many nice stories, and I don't know which one to tell you about. on the very practical level, people find business from each other. That's like, happens all the time. And I think the best collaboration example is the hacker community, which emerged actually from our community, but then later on they left because the space was just not suitable for hacking. So they got to know each other all by this before Xin Dan Wei existed. They got to know each other at this meetup, and then after that, and they started organize events in Xin Dan Wei. Then they didn't necessarily work from Xin Dan Wei, but they organized events together, work on projects together. There were many cool projects they set up, and workshops and everything was all happening in the space. So their skills got bigger and bigger. So they started to do things more regularly, and they started to have a robot contest and everything. It was just not what they were trying to do is just doesn't fit in the space anymore because the space was very small. And so they moved out, and now they have their separate and hacker space, and which is fantastic. I thought that was kind of very cool example of collaborating.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks a lot, and good luck with the future.